Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another episode of Observable Flutter. My name is Craig Benz, and I'm your host. And today, I'm going to embark on part 3 of an epic journey that began, 2 weeks ago, where I do my day job on stream and build the demo that I've been working on for Cloud Next and IO and maybe other places as well. So welcome back, and thanks so much for joining. I'm getting ahead of myself. You may recall, this is the Flutter community. We all know what that means. And all right, that's it. That's the end of the preamble. Great to see everybody. I'm live streaming straight to YouTube today, so I won't be able to put chats on screen, but I've got chat right in front of me, so I'll certainly be reading what you're all saying. Okay, so let me start to get set up from where things left off last week. I think that is the appropriate place to go. I've got anti-gravity here. Let me get to the right screen. And this is other code, obviously. Let me do a little git checkout staging. Oh, you're kidding me. Guys, you have to know. There's a thing you have to know about me. I am not smart. I was making a change this morning, and I forgot to commit anything. Git checkout, a new branch, select image, tweaks, v3. Third time's the charm, folks. So now I'm going to actually stage this change, and then I'm going to actually commit it. Git commit this thing. Anti-gravity stopped doing commits here for me. That's been fun. Upstream v3. I'm telling you, third time's a charm. And I'll merge that in a minute. All right. I usually ask, what are we building today? I'm going to resume working on the demo for Cloud Next and Google I/O that I was working on last week. And the portion of this that I was working on, so the whole flow, by the way, users will come through and you enter your name, you configure some stuff about some coffee you want, you negotiate with Nano Banana about what art you want to have printed on top of your latte that will be brewed for you on demand by the baristas. And then you maybe continue to negotiate, you answer some questions about the image, blah, 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 blah. You eventually get your coffee. Everyone's happy. Then separately, there's going to be a board. And by board, I mean, I think like a giant touchscreen TV where this interface is running and recent images images that people had printed on their coffees are here. And last week I was wasting a bunch of time and didn't get terribly far, but started to work on this flow, and that's what I want to resume. So when you tap on one, it'll switch into this, and then you kind of get this detail view. You can take a selfie if you're so inclined. I don't expect to work on this today. I want to work on this because I want this screen itself to just be kind of whimsical and really fun to look at. So that's the goal for today. Looking at chat real quick. Someone took a break from a debugging session to debug me. Well, my therapist has been working on that for years, let me tell you. And we have made progress, actually. We have made progress. I don't want to say he's accomplished nothing. I've been blessed to have a really, really wonderful personal therapist. So the debugging session is going great, generally speaking. Okay, this is my work calendar. That's probably not what should be on stream. Okay, let's do this. Let's get into it. I do want to merge this branch that I was working on. And by working on, I mean finally committed something to. So let me do that real quick. This time it actually has the code in it, which is extraordinarily exciting. I'm telling you, folks, smooth brain over here. No wrinkles anywhere to be found. So there's another Googler who's streaming right now. He's on the Firebase team, and I think he's streaming something about AI Studio. His name's Noe. He's also my partner in crime on this demo. And I've really just been amused about the idea of, on our stream, pulling up his stream and live reacting to it. It's an objectively bad idea. But because I'm a child, I think it would be funny. And we may do it. It probably won't because it's an objectively bad idea. Okay. Get to poll. And all right. So, no, wait. Why is this still wrong? This is crazy. Why is there two S's here still? This is the whole thing that I was trying to fix. Is I apparently typed an extra S and then I pulled and it's still there. What is going on? We're going to eventually open source this library and, this GitHub repo, and all of these commits are going to just be there. But seriously, folks, I don't know how to Git, I think. I'm really just blown away. If when I git pull after this, there is two S's on line 4, I'm just going to quit. I'm going to give Uncle Sundar my 2-week notice, and I'm going to end the stream because that would be the only morally responsible thing to do. I'm apparently stealing Google's money. I'm naming this PR. I don't even know anymore. Okay, there it is. Gonna look down at chat a little bit here. Basically, you're building the app and you're streaming it live. Yes. Yeah. Currently, I'm just making a fool of myself and streaming it live. But soon, I'll be building the app and streaming it live. It's going to be riveting. Okay, I'm merging this in. So now, when I check out, staging, the two S's, of course, git pull. You better go away, you extra S. Okay. Mind blowing. Git branch. What did I call it last week? Probably something involving a recent, because that's one of the recent images beginning. Nice. So let's check that out. Git check out. Oh, how stupid can I be? So I think if I did this, because that was just one thing. What if I did git branch grep recent? Will this work? Nice. That's great. What is the purpose of this app? What is it intended for? Well, the purpose of this app is for folks to see the power of Nano Banana, see the power of, Gemini in general, Gen UI, because in the flow when you're answering questions about the image, let me pull up the Figma file again. When you are at the stage of the flow where you've gotten your first image, and the UI, the button situation is slightly different from this, but you've gotten your first set of images. Maybe you pick one, but you want to tweak it. So then you can go over here and you have this Gen UI powered experience where Gemini has cooked up a couple questions for you to answer about that image, and you answer them, and then it makes a new batch of images. So these will all be like a lot more consistent in the actual flow. Obviously in the Figma, it just uses the same 4 again. But these will be variants of your first image that you selected plus the questions that you answered, and then you get a new set of images. Now, you don't have to do that. You can just go with one that you have in this first round if you are happy. But at the end, eventually, you get that image printed by an actual edible ink printer onto a latte. And it's pretty cool. At least that's what we're hoping. We hope people at CloudNext and IO and wherever else we set up this operation find it cool. If not, we're wasting a bunch of time. All right. So I'm putting this back out of the way. Let's look at the make file. Yeah, this is updated a lot since then. So I'm going to merge in staging. And there's a git conflict, of course, because we can never have nice things. Wait, why did the git conflict seem to like go away on its own? Oh, no, it's back. There we go. Okay, so I definitely want the incoming. So I'm going to resolve this with incoming. There we go. Do that. Do that, please. There we go. Git commit. And now this opens up and we close it. Yeah, this commit button has not been working for me it's having like a PGP error. I don't know why, because PGP is, or GPG, whichever one it is still set up on my computer. So I don't know what's going on. All right. So now, yeah, I've got more stuff here. So I'm going to say make app/recent. So there's 4 different entry points to this one Flutter app, and they're all powered based on which user you log in as. You're then forcibly directed into a certain path. So I have these different ports set up here, and you might be noticing that the order is super weird. That's because I first put 8081 as my widget book port, where I'm doing widget book things. Anyway, just keeping a dedicated port for each one so that a session can remain in place. I don't know if that session will still be here after a whole week away, but we'll see. All right, so now I can go to 8082 locally. So I'll bring this in, localhost 8082. And what loads here? Do I have to log in or am I still logged in? Okay, wonderful. You can tell that this is a great UI, super good. There were footer problems that I was spending some time on last week, and I'm still not interested in that right now. I just want to work on the images and have them start floating around and bumping into each other and applying a fun shader to have them like wobble after they bump into each other. I think that'll be cool. So I'm going to either comment out the footer or just accept that it is off center. And this little green bar was just me debugging something. So let's go to recent home view. I'm going to close other stuff, make this smaller, remind myself what on earth I was doing. Oh yeah, okay, a little helper widget. I have my recent home orders block, recent block, or orders home. Yeah, I know how to read. Yeah, I have a repository for a recent latte image. Oh, yeah. I was setting up a new collection, I believe, for that. What is a recent latte image? Yes, I remember making this. So I don't know if I have, I think I'm just going to put a bunch of these into Firebase manually. It's going to be an extraordinarily elegant operation. And I'm going to comment out the footer, and then we'll dive in. Where's the footer? There we go, footer. And I apparently put the padding on it. Yeah, the border. I said padding, I meant border. Okay, but I'm also commenting it out because I don't care right now. Awesome. Refresh. You're still here. Lovely. Look Look at what it took me an hour, a whole stream to do last week. I'm so smart. Okay, I need to do Firebase things to start. So what do we have here? Yeah, I thought some were going to load. Right, I have 2 in here, and there were 2 that were loading last week. So we actually already have some confusion. Let me put these in the same tab. That'll be easier, I think. Let's look at this. Uncaught in promise. Oh. Ooh. Missing or insufficient permissions. Yes. Okay. So I do have to update the permissions because they keep getting overridden every time we deploy. I guess I'll just do it here where everyone can see. So in the security rules, that's not where that goes. Rules. I need to add write permissions to recent latte images, which is probably in Firestore rules. Recent, there we go. Yep. So, save. I love that Command S is intercepted on this page to actually save and publish the security rules. That makes me a happy camper. So now when I refresh, we'll actually probably see 2 images in the places that I put them last week. All right, look at how wonderful that is. It's really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to make a couple more of these because I do want, I think we settled on 13 last time, and that is going to be tedious to make, but I'll make several more at least. And then we get into like moving stuff around, and basically collision detection, I think, is going to be the first thing. So that'll be pretty fun. Well, nobody could accuse it of loading too fast. That's for sure. I'll at least get started by copying another image URL. Oh my goodness, yeah, error loading documents indeed. Can I have them, please? So the things that I want here in recent, so I need to, I don't need to put the ID in the document. I need an image URL, prompt, and a description. Love it. So make a new buddy, a new document. So image URL, and this is what I just copied from my other window. Prompt, make me a cake as fast as you can. And then a description. This is going to be funny because the odds that this image that I copied randomly are of a cake is low. Okay, that's good. We'll go in auto ID here and save. So we should just see 3 things now. Oh, it appeared immediately. Whoa, that's cool. So apparently I set up a stream. I didn't need to refresh this. It's going to be tough muscle memory to shake. Oh yeah, some of the images are like not perfect circles, and that's a problem with our prompt to Nano Banana. All right, this is kind of honestly already enough. So I think I want to just, I'm going to start moving these things around. I don't want to enter 10 more of images on the stream. That'll be terrible, boring television. So I start watching basically the entire repository, the entire collection, and I obviously have left this to myself to add filters to the stream so that we don't pull in the whole stream every time. That makes sense. And then recent images subscription, blah, blah, blah. That makes sense. So I add, and we just update the images. That's all. That's just so lovely. Cool. So the first thing that I think I'm ready to do now is start to think about what data structure I want to have to move these things around. And I do not believe I want to like add an event to move all of them around in the block. I think that is just not terribly important. One thing I've also been wondering about, once there's 13 images on the screen, to go back to the Figma. Where the Figma? Someone give me the Figma. So when there's 13 images, or whatever number, and then a new one comes in, what I want to have happen is the oldest one, so let's say the oldest one happens to be down here, as they're all kind of meandering into each other. I want the oldest one to disappear and have the newest image take its place. So I need a data structure to keep track of that. And I think actually that could be pretty simple. I think I can continue to store all of these in a list, and I will have just a simple integer pointer keeping track of which index is the oldest. And that will probably have to be in block. That won't be in the widget. And so then when a new image comes down from the server, it can work out, okay, what's the new one? And replace whatever index, in our list, replace the image in that spot as pointed to by the oldest index pointer with the new image, and then move that pointer up one. Okay, I think that'll solve that. That's probably also not what I'm going to work on today, because I don't actually expect to finish the rest of it. But I have been wondering about that, and I wanted to make sure I didn't design something that couldn't support that feature. Start coding, man, Sam says. Well, that's fair. I will start coding. Okay, so it's data structure time. I think I'm going to have a separate stateful widget to track all of these things. So, oh no, I am in a stateful widget, and calculate latte positions. Okay, well, I guess I can probably just do it in here then. So we're going to have, we've got calculate latte positions, and then, so each latte position is going to also need probably a movement vector, and then we can update them as we go. Just set a timer. So I think I will not need a new widget, but I will add to this a vector2 for movement. This will be required. This dot, or no, not a vector2. It could just be radians. Movement, direction. And that'll be radians, final double direction. The angle of this latte's movement in radians. Okay. So now all of you need radians, and I'll say, I'm just going to give everybody a random value here. So this is between, there's 2 pi radians in a circle. So that is our maximum value. So I can say just different number. Oh, I keep typing radians. Direction in... They can all get different values, and they just have to be less than 2 pi if my math is right. And all of those values are less than 2 pi. Use Gemini to write throwaway code to load up 11 more dummy entries. Yeah, maybe once I start moving, that could be a good idea. That could be a good idea. All right, so now I need to set a timer, I believe. So let's do some init state fun. Yeah, override init state. That's not how you spell it, but thank you. There we go. And let's start our timer. Whoa, is it listening to me? Okay, that was actually even better autocomplete than I was expecting. Now the duration is certainly not 1 second. It'll be milliseconds. 16, right? That's 60 frames per second. So that seems right. And 60 FPS. Now we're not going to update it. We're not going to do this image or anything. This is just going to be update latte positions. There we go. And now we need that method, of course. And this is going to loop over the latte positions, which no longer makes any sense to put in here. Now, does it? That's going to have to go in init state, and latte positions is going to need to be an actual state variable. And this is going to be latte position. There we go. Oh, the images dot length. Okay, so we do need an inner image, an inner widget. I definitely need an inner widget, despite my best efforts to not. And then this is the single latte image. Yeah, okay. So this will be class latte images inner extends state full widget. And this is going to accept all of the images. No, not the positions. Required this dot latte orders. And what is the data structure? I think I made a new data structure called latte last week. I vaguely remember that. Final list latte. Lattes. Well, that'll be plural. Okay, that's good. Thank you for that autocomplete. So the block builder will stay up here. The scaffold can stay up here. That's all good. Basically, just this stuff is going to move down. And now we were already in a stack, which means this stack might not need to stay. But everything, like, because I could probably position these things without using a stack, I would guess. This could just be like a header in the scaffold. But I'll worry about that later, because what I want to do right now is definitely focus on this. So this stuff I'm going to move down into another stack. So there it is. That'll be latte in images inner. That's good. We pass in the lattes state.images. So what are you? Oh, that's recent latte image. Yeah. Of course. We were literally just talking about that. Cool. And now you're also going to use a stack. So this will be return stack. Children. My fingers are kind of cold. It's really cold in my house right now, and it is making me ungood at typing. Okay, that's great. So now there's some other shenanigans to start. You know, I'm actually going to just get rid of this whole stack and worry about it later. The whole stack is going to go away. Oh, no. I commented one too many lines. The child is just going to be this new inner widget. Lovely. And now the layout builder can also probably go down there. So I'm just going to basically do this. Oh boy, this surgery's getting out of hand. Is anyone else losing track of what's going on? So the layout builder will happen here now. And then this is good. And then I think I need to do like a this and a this. No, maybe Gemini can just autocomplete for me. How do I balance this, Gemini? Dang it. It wants me to do it. Okay, so I need to close the build method of the layout builder, and then I probably need to close the layout builder itself. Oh, but that's getting returned. There we go. Lovely. All right. So now those layout positions can become state on the inner widget. And I can calculate that in an inner init state. There we go. There we go. Okay, good. Now calculate layout positions is going to have to move down. I'll put that below the build method like it was. All right, you're still really mad about a lot of things. Why? Type of index and position cannot be inferred. Latte positions is literally known. All right, I'll sort this out in a second. This whole top widget, I think, doesn't have to be stateful at all anymore. I don't expect. Oh yeah, we need that timer eventually. Okay, wait, so yeah, this goes here. This one goes here. That one goes there. Oh, yeah, it's because we don't have state anymore. We just have widget.images. Okay, then it's widget.lattes? What did I call it? No, it should be images. It should be images. And then, so the problem here is that this is widget.images. And you are what? You don't know what you are? Latte position? No, this is a, yeah, that's right. What's your issue? Also, you wouldn't be final. You could be late, though. No, whatever. All right, what is this saying? Undefined named latte positions. Oh, it's the underscore. Very smart. And then, so the whole thing didn't have an underscore before. There we go. Okay. It's coming back. It's coming back. Reading chat for a second here. Folks are talking about using anti-gravity and having good experiences with it. Yeah, boy, have I been having a great experience with it. It has flexed a couple times in this very, so this is images now. There we go. Yeah, it is flexed a couple times in this chat as it's like read my mind really nicely, including when it cooked up this 60 FPS update that was really hot. So I need that again. And then we need that method. All right, and this whole thing I don't think is going to need to stay a stateful widget. So I'll just dereaderize that. And then, oh no, it does because it needs the block. Okay. I wonder if there's a better way to sort that out. Probably not. Probably not. Also remember, folks, stateful widgets are not materially more expensive than stateless widgets. You know, it is slightly wasteful to use one when you strictly don't need it, but if you only need it for the tiniest reason, just use it. Doesn't matter. Nothing else cares. Okay. Cool. So all of this so that I can separate out the block from like the accepting of the images into the place where they are shuffled around, which I think was necessary. I don't think that was a giant waste of time. I could have maybe double thought my assumption when I first said, I'm going to need an inner widget, but I think that was necessary. So now we can say latte positions. Yep, and here we're going to map them, and this is great. Let's just let's let Gemini and anti-gravity cook and see what it came up with. Okay, so latte position doesn't have a copy with, but that we could remedy. And the center we copy with, and it moves in a random direction. So that's not great. So first, let's get a copy with method on latte position, and I sure do expect, yeah, Gemini to be very good at this. It's not going to allow us to pass in null values, but I don't care. And then write the comment for me, please. Thank you. Great. And then center is an offset, so I don't know if center had, doesn't seem like offset has copy with. That's a little stinky, but we'll put it in extension. Extension on offset, and I bet it's going to just add copy with here. No. Offset copy with. There we go. Good, good, good. Okay. Now, I am not a terribly good mathematician. So the where is that function? It moves things around. There we go. Update. This is obviously wrong, but boy, do I not know what is right. So normally what I would have done in pre-AI days is Google the math. And then without really learning the math, I would apply it. So I'm going to do the 2026 version of that, and I'm not going to learn the math, and I'm going to have Google apply it. I need update latte positions function in recent orders home view to move each latte position object in accordance with its direction variable, which stores its current trajectory in radians. And it's probably going to be some like cotan 2, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Oh, and then the other thing that I always like to do before I ask Gemini to do anything, I always stage my open changes so that I have a very clear view of exactly what Gemini changed. And of course, it gives you the view where you can see it for yourself, but I just still find this nicer. Okay. Reading some chat here. What's your opinion about state control, change notifier, or those famous pub.dev packages? Lucas asks. That's a great question. So I'm using Block here, but Randall used to be a big provider fan. Now he loves Signals. He's in the chat. There's a lot of enthusiasts about all of these different packages. I really do find them to be, I wasn't going to guess this. I really do find them to all be quite fundamentally similar. They're all structure for you to, in your UI, after the user has taken some action, call a function in a place that will, which leads to a place that will modify your state and then kind of signal to your UI to rebuild, like in Block, that is the emit function. In Riverpod, you just set the new state variable on a provider. I forget exactly what it is in Signals. In a change notifier, you just call set state. So these, it's like the same players, but they have slightly different names, slightly different faces. And then there's always some widget on the front end, whether it's a block builder or you use context.watch in Riverpod, that consumes and watches for and consumes this rebuild signal and rebuilds widgets. So like I really do find them kind of all to be the same, but where I don't come down is that they don't have value, because they check for different footguns, and like Signals is really good at limiting unnecessary rebuilds and having extremely targeted rebuilds in your UI in a way that some of the other state management packages don't natively support as well. Riverpod has a really good strength where all of your providers that you go ask for are like in scope. So you have type safety all the way through your state management. Block has, I think it's just really, really organized, helps me write really organized code, and also does a great job of deduping similar states as they come out of your block in that case. So like they do, all the packages all have different strengths that I think elevate them above like a primitive change notifier. But if you're disciplined in a change notifier, you can absolutely have a lot of success. Okay. And Randall's talking about Perl, so that's how you know it's the real Randall. So, folks, anyway, Gemini just did a little math, and that's great, and I'm not going to check it other than to run the app again. So let's see what we get. Oh, yeah, I put it in this window, and it's this tab. Okay, cool. They moved. Now we need some collision detection. Okay, and I'm just going to keep rolling with Gemini here. Now, for it to, this is interesting. This is super interesting. For Gemini, or for the code to detect boundaries on the edge of the screen, what is obviously going to have to happen is somewhere in code, we are aware programmatically of the size of the screen so that those boundaries can be established. Now, we of course get some parameters down in the build method, but it's a little awkward to count on the build method to have been run before like a timer elapses. In practice, it basically always will, but you do open yourself up to like a micro race condition possibility there. So I'm going to just keep moving code back and forth like a real certified genius. And I'm going to scroll down too far such that I confuse myself. And I'm going to put the layout builder utility back up above. And this means that we'll be able to pass in the size parameters, and the widget will, from its beginning, know how big it is. Okay, so now let's add layout info to the required this dot layout info. That's good. And layout info is just a thing that exists on this utility class that I made. It's very similar to box constraints, but layout info now needs to be passed in. And I can say layout info, layout info. Okay, so now I think Gemini is more set up to complete the next task for me. And this needs to just be widget dot. There we go. And there we go. Cool. So now I'll say add collision detection for the edge of the screen and invert the latte position direction value accordingly. Man, my fingers are so cold. I really just cannot type right now. When to prevent latte images from scrolling or flying off the screen. Does that say prevent? My camera cord is blocking. Okay, it does say prevent. Good. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to let it do that. Randall says, I can explain signals in about 30 minutes. Can't say the same for any other state management, and yet Signal scales well and works with built-in core types. You don't think you could explain the other ones in 30 minutes? I wonder how detailed of an explanation you're talking about, because I think they can all be explained to some extent in less than 30 minutes, but maybe you mean like a full technical talk that will set somebody up to be developing a complete app with it. And that would probably take at least 30 minutes. But as a block person myself, I think if you give me 30 minutes, I can learn you good on some block. All right, it's still thinking. Verifying position properties. Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, it feels like you should be further along than that by now. So let's review what it did. So we've got the direction. So we calculate the size of the ball. That's good. And then we figure out if, whoa, I'm not going to lie. I do not have a clue what is going on here. Add comments to that code so someone who is bad at trig can still understand what is going on. Not me, of course. I am good at trig, but someone else in the future, probably. Oh, you know what I just realized? I am covering my own. Every time I type a prompt to Gemini, I'm just right in the way. Sorry about that. I think I have moved myself to the left. Where is OBS? OBS. Oh, there we go. Okay, I see it. All right, it is adding. Woo! Them's a lot of comments. All right, calculate how much space. Yep, that was the one part that I could read. Okay, horizontal bounce, left and right walls. Cosine direction gives us the horizontal velocity. Greater than 0 means moving left, or less than 0 moving left, greater than 0 moving right. Not so good. If we cross the boundary, if this, okay. Yeah, so I was just really, I don't understand what the and cosine means. That's what I was confused about. Like the rest I understood. So we still don't understand the cosine part. And I still don't understand I don't understand the sine part down here. Like it just seems like this would totally work without that. Oh, this was the direction. Oh, it literally said right here. Okay, I read this out loud and then I didn't put it anywhere in my brain. Okay. So it's funny actually, I wonder which calculation is cheaper. I guess this calculation is probably cheaper than the cosine of a value. Oh man, this is so cool. I love having someone who's good at trig to help me do the trig. All right, I accept these changes. I find them lovely. And now let's refresh the app and watch them hopefully do their thing. All right. So this is way too fast, but it is going to be good for them bumping into each other because we'll be waiting a long time while they bump into each other. Now, before I actually even ask it to just add collision detection, I want to have a little chat with Gemini about collision detection. I need to add collision detection to an app with a handful of moving circles. I know I can run, let's see, I know the naive solution is to run an exponentially bad check of each circle's position and radius against each other circle's position and radius. But is there a smarter way? And this will be enlightening. Because I was wondering this while I was walking my dog the other day. And I thought, you know who will know the answer to this question? Not me. And that was my profound insight. Oh man, I meant to put it on the fast thing. Yeah, I know you know this answer off the top of your head. Okay, for a handful of circles, the math is simple, but the strategy is where you gain efficiency. The math shortcut before moving to complex algorithms, ensure your individual check is optimized. Instead of using the standard distance formula, which involves a square root, yeah, right. Yeah, we want to use the length 2 value. Use the squared distance comparison, indeed. Okay, so then spatial partitioning, the smarter way. If you eventually scale beyond a handful of circles, you want to avoid checking circles on the opposite side of the screen. Oh, so we I was wondering that. Okay, that makes sense. You can use spatial partitioning to only check circles in the same neighborhood. Yeah. Okay. I think given 13 circles, I'm not going to need anything like that because the checks to sort 13 circles into their grid is probably going to be about the same for less than 20 objects. 13 is a fair bit less than 20. Plus, once you've checked A to B, you don't need to check B to A. So I think we're just going to do the really, really simple implementation here. Now, please add collision detection between the latte images themselves. Use a simple algorithm to check each circle against each other circle. No need for partitioning. But of course, once A is compared to B, do not compare B to A. Also use length squared for checks, of course. I don't want Gemini to think I'm a dummy. Randall, every stream you create converts on signals, and that is you and Rhodey should go into business together. Someone says I still don't get why block is so popular. I personally like block because I came from the web. And at the time that I was doing web development, Redux was the big state management library in React. And honestly, Redux was like the first library that really kind of got it right. And everyone felt like there's the correct amount of abstractions here. There were, of course, Redux is not the like de facto, of course, you're using it state management library in React anymore. I do think it's still popular because it was very good. Anyway, I had used that for a while. So when I switched to Flutter back in like when did I switch to Flutter? 18? 17? 18? One of those years. I just picked the thing that was closest to what I knew. And those concepts map onto each other very, very closely. But again, they're really all the same, except signals, which is like kind of significantly different. Most of them are the same, and they just kind of have different flavors of like bumper bowling to keep you from foot gunning yourself. And they are like if you explore one, if you experiment with one, and the flavor of bumper bowling that it offers doesn't resonate with you, then that's totally fine. Check out another one. And eventually one is just going to feel right. And that's the one you should use. And then when other people debate state management and like tell you that they love their library, you can say, I'm sure you do. And I'm really happy for you. But I love this library. And I hope you're happy for me. And then we can all get along and love each other. But yeah, I mean, if block's not doing it for you, then check out another one, 100%. Okay, inner latte collisions. So that's the simple check. Ensures we never check A plus 1, then A versus B, then B versus A. I don't understand how that's true, but... Oh, no, that actually makes sense. Yes, okay. Oh, that's so simple. That's so nice. So this is going to loop through from 0 to 13 is the magic number. And then this one internally goes from 1 to 13. So 0 will check against 1, but 1 won't be able to check against 0. And then once I is 1, what we know is that 0 has checked against everything. So because J is always higher than that, nothing will ever check against 0 again. Oh, that's so simple. I would have written that in like the most tedious, verbose ways. I mean, it really would have been pretty bad. I would have like had a whole map to track which things had had already talked to each other. Oh, this is, you learn simpler ways to do things sometimes when you code with someone smarter than you. Okay, let's refresh and see what we get. There's a funny thing. So when you use WASM, boom, look at that. That's so great. When you use WASM, the startup time, whoa, that was interesting. Oh. Huh. There was a point where two of them kind of came down and were like flying right side by side with each other. Okay, this is cool and awesome. And now I want to get into applying this shader. All right, this is really satisfying. but I do need to look away because I am a big boy and I'm going to do my job. That's what I tell myself. Let's make the linter happy. Because what are we if not simps for the linter? I wonder if I could tell Gemini to wrap all the comments. This is such a waste of tokens, but let's try it. Wrap all of the comments so that none exceed 80 characters. Oh God, this is such a waste of tokens. I can't believe I'm going to burn electricity for this. Anyway. Yeah, okay, it's shader time, I think. This is great. Yeah, we just need a ball and cue, that's right. Could write a pool game now. That is true. I heard a very interesting fact the other day that still seems wrong to me, but probably isn't, and I haven't like run the numbers myself to sort it out. But apparently, if you shrunk Earth all the way down to the size of a pool ball, the ridges on the Earth that represent like mountains and valleys and the bottoms of oceans and stuff would be so small that as you run your finger over that cue ball, you would not feel anything. They're not like big enough for the grooves on your finger to detect, which is crazy to think about. That is a really wild thought, and it still like doesn't seem quite true to me, but I have on good authority that it is. Where by good authority I mean Neil deGrasse Tyson said it. And I think he double checks his figures before he quotes them on Star Talk. All right. This is great. One day I may factor this out into a new thing, but first, let's go grab this shader. So I'm going to go to my game that I've been working on, but haven't really touched in a little while. Nobody look at how long ago the last commit was. And in the client, where is this? Library. In the sources. Wait a minute. What's going on? Did I never merge this in? No, okay, I did merge it in. Client. Lib. Source. Where is any of the code? Oh, it's server pod. Client is the middle layer. I need to be in the app directory. I thought I was like literally losing my mind, like Beautiful Mind style, except without the good part of the Beautiful Mind. So now, anyway, what am I doing? Widgets, probably. Squish widget. This is it. Okay. So let me grab all of this code. I actually could have just done this. Actually, I couldn't tell you. Yes. Copy raw file. That would have done it now. Wouldn't it have. That's how the Brits talk there. Wouldn't it have. It's not how they talk, but there's a lovely British woman that is my producer today and is probably pulling her hair out right now as she's backstage waiting to moderate chat, wondering how can I moderate Craig himself. New file. This is going to be I want to make a folder. Widgets. Sometimes it feels funny to make a folder for one file. Well, two files if you had the barrel file. But it's like, we're going to keep we'll be consistent over efficient sometimes. And I think that's better overall. Squish widget. It's not the most elegantly named thing in the world. New file. Squish widget. Not dark. Okay. Here we are. So I certainly don't need the stuff from the other game. Okay. Direction of the force. So this is going to change to a double, and that'll be in radians. And the effect strength, cool, that's good. Okay, calibrated effect strength. Oh yeah, so I don't need this. And this is just going to be, yeah, perpendicular radians. That's fine. That's fine. Calibrated effect strength. I don't even know. I'll just put that at 1 for now. Sure. Okay, yeah, it's redundant, isn't it? Okay, so now I need to add assets, shaders, squish. And remember, folks, this, there's a little like gnat buzzing around my head, and it's making me want to jump out the basement window. This shader was written by Hinan, who is awesome. Because as we've all established many times on this stream, I'm not so good at the maths. Actually, I'm okay at maths, but I'm really, really bad at trig. And trig, it just doesn't, like, I would never. I could never, I would never, this would never. So it wasn't me. So, what am I doing here other than stretching? I need to have an assets directory, which I probably already have. Where are I? Where am I? Assets. There we go. And so we need a shaders directory, folder, shaders, and a new file called squish glsl. And I will paste in this code. And apparently don't have the glsl extension installed. That's fine. Not terribly worried about that. So apparently Flutter shaders is not a dependency yet. So let's go to pubspec and add a dependency of Flutter shaders. Okay. Okay. There we go. The blue squiggly went away. And now, at the moment of collision, what I need to do is add some concept of a squish effect. And I think I'll like inject that into the latte image widget itself. So this will be a required like squish angle, which will be nullable. And so this is going to be a widget child. Oh my goodness. Cold fingers do not lend themselves to typing. There we go. That's super good. Now we import the squish widget, which isn't coming in. What's going on? Squished widget. Why did I name it something differently? Actually, it is kind of a better name. Why is the file name wrong? Move. Squished widget. There we go. Okay. Squished widget. Now we can import that. So we've got the direction, we got the squish angle, effect strength, blah, blah, blah. So this is all good. And then this needs to like oscillate as well. So this is going to need to become a stateful widget. And when it comes in, oh yeah, okay, this is going to be fun. I love this kind of stuff. So let's have a double here. This is going to be the squish angle. And then we say, nope, not that. It's going to be did update widget, void did update widget. That's good, that's good, that's good. And now we'll say, yes, that's good, that's good. So if squish angle is not null, and oh no, it's not. Oh no, it's not or 0. Absolutely not. Ah, yeah, this needs to be double. That's what it is. And you're not 0, because 0 is an actual value. Null is the only nothing value that we want to accept here. So if the squish angle is not null, then we start the animation. Okay, now we need to start animation function. And this gets an override tag. All right, in the animation, by the way, if you're like, did update widget. What? I would direct you to the How Flutter Works series on YouTube, which will explain what the heck I'm doing. So, yeah, here we're going to need a, I think at this point, I can probably just have Gemini fill out the rest of the details. Like, these are the things that I know. I don't really care about writing the animation controller. Plus, I might learn a better way to write it that it's going to do than what I would have done. So the squish angle here, I think I'll put this on the latte position as well. Yeah. That makes sense. So this is going to be index and position dot two. Oh, well, if I put it on the latte position, then it doesn't need to be an extra parameter. How lovely. So this is widget dot latte position dot squish angle does not equal old widget dot latte position dot squish angle. Okay, good. Oh, no. This is just that now. Yeah. Cool. Okay, Mr. Latte Position. Where are you hiding? There we go. Okay. Required this dot squish angle. And doo-doo-doo. Love it. One more. Nice. Okay, now, so here, to start, none of them have any squish. Okay, super good. Now, we can, when they bump into something, we are going to ask Gemini to apply a squish angle that is, oh yeah, you know what I'm going to actually need to do? I removed something. I just realized this. Yeah, almost screwed up. Could you imagine watching me screw up? There was a thing that I did here. Yes, the perpendicular part. When it hits, like when the ball hits something, the angle of the force is like the angle that the ball was going in. But the way the shader is written, the squish is the effect, is the direction in which it lengthens. So the angle that needs to be applied does need to be perpendicular to what is moving. Perpendicular to the way the ball is moving. So I'll tell Gemini to do that part. I won't forget. I mean, I won't do it myself. Okay, so now let's see. Add maintenance. Is that how you spell maintenance? Of the latte positions new squish angle. Oh yeah, okay. I am gonna handle the perpendicular part in the widget like I did before, so I'll worry about that later. Add maintenance of the latte position's new squish angle variable anytime a circle, anytime a latte circle collides with anything, either the side of the available space or another image. The angle should be the value stored in squish angle should be, oh, I guess I could do perpendicular here. I'll just try that. Should be perpendicular to the direction the object was moving. Oh no, that's only true if it hits the wall. If it hits the wall, the value, if a latte image hits another latte image, I'm not sure what the angle should be, but please calculate what would look realistic. And then I am going to get rid of the perpendicular part here, and I'll put it back in the other thing. So, how calculate perpendicular value of radians? What is this math? So it's r times the sine of theta. What's theta? Identify the angle theta. Ensure the angle is okay. So that's, well, what's r then? The radius of the circle. If it's not a unit circle, multiply the result by, okay. How did I get perpendicular radians here on direction? What did I calculate for that? Because that's probably what I want. Where even is that? It's probably an engine. Lib. Source. Utils. Direction. Okay, look at all these directions that make sense for this game. Perpendicular. So radians plus pi divided by 2. 90-degree rotation from this value. Oh, you know what? That makes sense. Okay. So in the squished widget, I can put that back in. That went here. So that's plus pi divided by 2, which we can, let's just call this half pi. And this will be static const half pi. There we go. But you can be 3.14159. Half pi. And yeah, sure, we'll do underscores. So I don't have to comment it. And then we don't need these parens. Okay, that's pretty good. What's your issue here? Is needed because it's not obvious. Really? It's obvious to me. Okay. Gemini, how are you doing? Oh, okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I was just thinking about when the squish angle thing should end, but it actually doesn't matter. That'll be handled in the widget in its own thing. So when we, and that's start animation. Okay, so this is all the same stuff. So return the pixel velocity updates in their new standard. That's the same thing here. Sure. I mean, if it has ATAN in it, I'm not qualified to assess what happened, whether or not that is correct math. And then, oh, nice, nice. So it hits the wall and it's really direct and it does something cool here. Great. Love it. Accept all. Good. Now we're ready to start to the animation. So now update latte, update the latte. Why won't you capitalize? Latte image widget to, we'll say the start animation function to oscillate. I don't know how many L's are in oscillate. It might be 2. No, that looks silly. This looks bad though too. I don't know how to spell oscillate. I'm going to oscillate between 1 and 2 L's until the end of the stream. Start animation function to oscillate between values of 0 and 1. No, -1 and 1. -1 and 1 to create a bubble, like wobbling effect, and route that value into the squished widgets effect strength. Oh, this doesn't have to go to -1. Yeah, no, it is just 0 to 1. -1 doesn't make any sense. Effect strength parameter. Allow the animation to run for a flexible amount of time. It should defaulting to 2 seconds. Presumably that it will make that a parameter. And once that value, so after the animation completes, reset squish angle to null. Account for a, okay, I have a really crazy idea. Let's start with this. But I was thinking, what if like a bubble hits one, and then so it redirects and it hits another one right away. It'd be cool to stack the effects, but let's get it working first, and then squish angle could become like a list of squishes and start times or something. I'm not sure. And we could run this in a loop and say like 4 active squish in all active squishes, and then just continue to decorate. Oh, that'd be kind of fun. Yeah, we'll see. That'd be neat. Randall, you have been doing the math for me. What's going on here? Yeah, mentioning the life cycle of Widget Talk from Flutter Vikings a few years ago. Yeah, the How Flutter Works YouTube series is kind of like the, not really 101, but like 201 in American college class vernacular level tour of that content. And then life cycle of a widget and life cycle of a render object is like the grad level. Maybe not grad. Maybe that's a little self-aggrandizing. Okay, what changed here? So we have the wobble controller. It runs for 2 seconds. It didn't make that a parameter. Well, that's not the end of the world. I know how to do that later. If it's completed, we're done. Is it just going to use a curve? How are we? Oh, wait a minute. That's just setting up the controller. Great. Okay, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Forward, that's probably just a cascade operator is what it wants us to do there. And then the current strength is some crazy math. I thought it was going to use a curve, but maybe the curve that I want doesn't exist. And then we pass in current strength. Let's see. So a lot has changed since the last time we've looked at the app running. Let's take some bets. Who thinks it's going to work? Place your bets. Oh, this also needs an ignore. That's what it is. Or maybe the game show can be, what's that bug? Like, why isn't it going to work? What's that bug? All right, refresh. Here we go. And it's thinking. I was talking about WASM a second ago, and I don't think I ever finished that thought. Okay, so literally nothing is happening. Oh, and they're just like bouncing off nothing. All right, so the bounce logic is imperfect. Sometimes the circles like get attached to each other, and that is really silly, and they are not wobbling in the slightest. Oh, wait a minute. I may know why they're not wobbling. I'm actually surprised that this is working at all. I added an asset which requires a rebuild of the app. You can't just hot restart a new asset. What must be happening is in the squished widget. Yeah. So this is just a string. So the shader builder must be allowing you to pass in a nonsense asset, and then it just like catches that error and does nothing. That must be what's going on. Now we're still getting, oh no, I have to refresh here, I think. Because of the web server mode. Well, Randall, this is crazy. Like, no need to use ATAN or cosine or whatever. Oh man, no wobble at all. Yeah, look at, they're just like bouncing off nothing sometimes. Weird. And then they hit each other and just go in the same direction. What? But definitely zero. Wow, yeah, they do bounce off absolutely nothing on occasion. Interesting. Why is the wobble not happening? I think my first order of business is to make sure that like the widget, the shader is being executed at all. I feel like I did this years ago when I added it to the other thing. So load shader. Yeah, if shader cache contains key. All right, so this will be my first thing here. Print shader cache contains asset key, else shader cache does not contain asset key. I think this should be hot restartable, even though I'm editing library code. And now we're gonna need the console. Oh, there's errors. Web engine failed to fetch assets, shaders. Well, it's like, that's the problem. Apparently I didn't need to put assets here. I don't know why that changed. Okay, that restarted. I don't know if I had to hot restart that. Okay, here we go. Nope. Version 4. Wait, unexpected token. Colon. What? What? Version 4 is not valid JSON. What are you talking about? Version 4 is not valid JSON? Why would you try? Why are you interpreting this as JSON? Assets. No, pub spec. What the heck? What the heck? Wait a minute. I added it to the wrong pub spec. Where did I add it? Didn't I add it? Folks, did I add it? I really thought I added it. But the other ones all say assets, so I'm gonna assume that this needs to say assets. Is it in the wrong folder? Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's good. I'm really confused. Sometimes I do things on the stream and I just really confuse myself and think like, good thing there was footage so I could go back and watch and see like what was the moment where I did something different than what I thought I was doing, but I never actually do that. Okay, so we're definitely not, oh, it's okay. It's still rebuilding. If you've ever wondered how elegant programming is when a nincompoop is doing it, now you know. Let's do one of these numbers. Shader cache does not contain shaders. Oh, I probably do need to put assets in front of it again. So what was that? Squished widget. Yeah, okay. So we'll put assets here. Refresh. Reload. Come on. Big money, big money, big money. Nothing. Shader cache doesn't contain it again. Ah, man, I'm just so, like, I don't know why. We're in UI. This is in GenUI. That's the correct folder. Assets, shaders, squish.glsl. Yeah, that's right. I think. And there's this, which is just so weird. So, like, something is reading this. Version 4, right? Unexpected token. Something is reading this asset and thinking it's JSON. Why? Like, there it is. I don't get it. In PubSpec, it needs to be under shaders, not asset. Oh, somebody is smart. Who is that? A boss. G. You are a boss. Okay, so if I go back to this and go into app and go into PubSpec, man, I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. I wonder how long this took me last time. Okay. Yeah. So look at that. Look at that. And now this is quite redundant, isn't it? It's funny. It's like, oh, my comment didn't count. So let's rebuild because that's typically needed for any new, well, asset, probably for a shader as well. We'll see. While this rebuilds, let's see. Shri Manjaroon says, I created a package that helps you write native code implementations directly from your Dart specs. It removes the hassle of manually linking JNI and FFI, making native interop seamless. Suggestions. It's called Nitro, inspired by React Native's Nitro module. Well, Shri, my first suggestion is, are you aware? First of all, that sounds awesome. It's like a very cool project. High value. I feel compelled to ask whether or not you are aware that that is the exact thing. Well, the Dart and Flutter team are building that exact thing into Dart and Flutter. Why won't this shader work? Whoa. Look at how slow this is. I wonder if that's because the shader is being... So first it didn't contain because it was loading, and then now it does contain. So the shader is like being used every frame, I think. And that's why this is this slow. So WASM will probably help. Also, it shouldn't be getting used every frame, so that's wrong. So now we can go back to this and sort out, nope, recent home view. We can sort out when that is used. So if it's not null, oh, you know what I'd never do is zero it out again. So where do I, no, it does get zeroed out. Strange. All right. I don't know why that was so slow. Yeah, like, Well, something's not right. I suppose I deserve to have to read this code a little bit and understand how it works on account of having had Gemini write all of it and me not knowing how it works. But I really feel it actually does really seem like it should work. I think there must be a quite subtle bug here. Huh. It does seem like it would work. Like current strength isn't called until we're inside here. So that's actually pretty nice. And then when, I guess I could just like make sure this is hitting. Removing squish. It's quite clear that there's a big problem around how. It's so funny. It's literally doing nothing. There are removing squish things in here though, so like it is eventually getting removed. The first thing I'm going to test, because I'm going to want this to be able to like apply the shader without slowing everything down. So the first thing that I want to test is, and this will probably be where we end today, and then I'll like troubleshoot this later. I always hate when I end on not, anything working. And I fix it off screen. That's disappointing. But I do want to see it run in WASM mode and not choke. And I think it will be fine, but that will probably be the end today. I can definitely go into, let's go into Squish widget and go back into Shader Builder and remove these prints that I left. Okay. All right. So now we refresh here. In this, okay, nice. So look at this. Now the shaders are not slowing anything down. They're also not working, of course. So something is extraordinarily wrong. Oh, I wonder if the strength is like too low. Is that possible? I don't actually know. I don't remember what the effective strength, like what is a good normalized effective strength. Let's run a quick experiment by multiplying this by 100. Now, hot reload is much slower with WASM. They're still working on that. Are you even done yet? Oh my gosh, look how slow it is. Come on, friend. Okay, now we restart. And nope, that is not the issue. All right, I don't know what's going on. And I wish that I was solving that on stream, but I guess I'll just report back. Oh, wow, wait a minute. Whoa. Look at some of these squish values are above. Oh, no, the 2 pi is 3.2 or 6.2. Okay, no, they're all right. Weird. Well, we're almost there, but not quite. And I might still be able to actually wait on this until next week's stream. Like last week, I won't promise that will happen, but there's plenty of other stuff for me to do in the interim, so I might wait on this until next week's stream, and maybe that will be when I solve this. Or I might have to work on it before then, and next week might be something totally different. But for now, I'm going to commit all of this code and say git commit more us on recent images movement. And we'll push that. All right, folks. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in and talking about signals and doing a little trig with me. I don't know if this was any fun. Let me know if it wasn't, because I don't get on here to be boring and not be fun to watch. But if it was, great. Hope you enjoyed yourself. And yeah, I expect to be probably back, same time, same place next week. It's been pretty busy working on this demo, so there's always a chance that I just kind of won't be able to set aside the extra time for it, but we'll see. But until then, everybody, take care and happy fluttering.